Hello everyone. Today we're going to start with a new chapter, building market competitive compensation systems. I've divided the video into two parts. This is part one of two. Now in this lesson, we have two main objectives. Number one is explain the concept of market competitive compensation system, as the title suggested, and summarize the four activities compensation professionals engage in to create these systems. So both are important here. And lastly, discuss how compensation professionals integrate job structures with external market pay rates. Of course, we'll go in detail in that. Second point is also very important. Jumping into the first learning objective, explain the concept of market competitive compensation system. Now, before I actually jump into let's say jumping to the topic directly, let's explain here that what the general understanding of market, what we mean by market and what we mean by competitiveness. Now for market, we mean external environment outside the organization. So we have to make sure as a compensation manager, we are looking now outside our own organization, what's happening in other organizations, what they're doing when it comes to compensation system. And when we talk about competitiveness, so the word competitiveness comes from advantage that we should have over others. What advantage we can have over others, that new prospect candidates look at us, that this branded organization is really good, so they will apply for that. So we look for, and to do that, we look for strategies, we plan. And for planning, it means that we do plan for short-term or long-term future plans, how we want to see in the organization, the system develops and grows. And for all that thing, we have to do analysis. Bottom line is analysis. And to do analysis, we all know that we have to collect data. So we're gonna study all these things in this part one. And in the end, this gives us compensation policy for an organization, which will help us in two major things. We'll discuss those two major things in detail in the chapter, or you will understand automatically, like promoting recruitment and retention of talented employees. Let's jump into the chapter now. So there are three questions. Also, I divided the chapter into this part into three questions here. Question number one is, why is it important to have a market competitive pay system? All right, so I've just given my view here, goals of attracting and retaining talent. All right, so we can actually attract new hires and retain our own talent pool if we have a competitive system, pay system. It can also increase productivity. If the performance of our employees are good, they are highly motivated, so the productivity automatically will actually be increased by the organization. Lower turnover can also lead to better morale. So it's like positivity is standard quality is high here. Increase organization knowledge and a stronger company culture. So the culture will automatically be in close. So this is question number one. Now, what are the other questions that we will be answering in this market competitive pay system part one? What is the strategic analysis? Because we're talking about competitiveness, so strategic analysis are important. And with that, the third question, what is compensation survey? So basically how we will collect data. What are the tools that we will be using to collect data from different organizations, because sometimes they say that it's confidential data. However, there are plenty of sources available, primary or secondary, that we can use. And I'll show you through different websites during the lessons that from where you can collect the data. All right, so what market competitive pay system gives? It gives company compensation policy, as already mentioned, and the imperative of competitive advantage. Yeah, the key role in promoting recruitment and retention of talented employees. So there are three major purposes for having a competitive compensation policy. All right, and how we will achieve market competitive pay systems? We will achieve using four ways here. and they are all connected to each other. It's not that they're separated, they're all connected to each other. Number one thing that we have to do is conduct strategic analysis. Next, coming how we do that, it's basically, and this strategic analysis is not necessarily for this competitive pay system. It can be applied to other HR functions within the organization. It can be used over there as well. Assess competitive practices. What are competition doing? All right, so how they have their plans sought out in their organization when it comes to giving salaries, giving benefits, whether it's direct benefits or indirect benefits, reward systems, reward management. So what are they? So we'll discuss that in 3 ways in this lesson. And then what we will do is, after collecting the data from the top, we'll try to integrate into our internal job structure. All right, so integration of internal job structure with external market pay rates. So when we join them together, then we'll determine the compensation policy. So 4 activities to develop all this system. Okay, so what are the 4 activities? Number one is strategic analysis. As I already mentioned, that we have to conduct strategic analysis. This, as I said, this can be used by the HR functions also. So in this, what we have 2 things here. One is external market context, and another is internal factors. External market means external environment. That actually gives us industry profile, information on competition, and long-term prospects. For example, now you have come across various types of strategic models, and one I can pick is Boston Consulting Group model, BCG matrix. Now that is also a good matrix when you're comparing an organizational products, whatever product line they have, with the industry products. The competition is their competitiveness, industry profile that you can create, and using that, and information on competition, what is the market share, how much they're actually doing, share in the market for them. And so this information is important when it comes to collecting data here. And internal factors, our own organizational financial conditions. So our own financial conditions will actually tell us where we are right now. Functional capabilities, so operational capabilities of our own individual organization. So strategic analysis entails examination of 2 things in a company: external market context and internal factors. And then compensation surveys involve collection and subsequent analysis of competitive compensation data. So we collect the data, we analyze the data, we take out the important parts from the data, and then we will integrate it into our internal structure. But however, this is very, very difficult part. It's not that easy at all. So these are the first 2. The next is, as a compensation managers or professional, you will integrate, as I was saying. Now, the integration part of internal consistency, that what you have already in place with job structures. So basically, that's like you already did your job in evaluation part, job content for different roles that you already have. So you have done that. And then whatever we collect the data from the external market for pay rates are different for those roles, we could join them together through our compensation service. And then in the end, the 4th one, compensation professionals like you people will recommend pay policies that fit with their company's standing and competitive strategies. So learning objective number 2, discuss how compensation professionals integrate job structures with external power. So the nitty-gritty part, what actually happens and how it happens. Now let's say you have collected the data, what you're going to do with that data. However, we'll jump into that later. Now, required information. So for that data that I've been talking about from the start is what type of data we want from other organizations. We want base pay, what base pay they are giving for a particular role in their organization, what incentive award structure they have adapted. All right, and then we'll mix and level of discretion benefits that they are giving. We look into majorly three things in our case. Now, to collect data, we found that there are lots of available places. Now, why we want to have custom developed service? Basically, to collect data, we need a quantitative research has to be done, and we have to come up with different types of forms out there. So let me just go through and help you actually that there are a lot of uh, custom developed means that they can be custom tailored, custom tailored for us. And there are lots of websites that we can use. For example, SurveyMonkey, we can use SurveyMonkey to create type of service that we want that suits our recommendations. And SurveyMonkey's been there for ages now. Lots of organizations use it. Another is Survey Gizmo. We can use this also as a help for our purpose. If you look at solutions, they have lots of them, for example, for different purposes or different categories, employee assessments, for example. And we want to do that for our employees. So we can create a survey using Survey Gizmo for that matter. There's another Outgrow, and they actually provide templates for different purposes. Let's say I go to HR here, right? Because we are HR students, so let's go to HR students here. So they will create a survey for something, I guess. Let's say what type of service they have for HR, engaging HR surveys, job satisfaction survey, yeah. So this is the way it will look like, the surveys. So yeah, we want to actually make surveys to collect data regarding other organizations, what they are doing, how they're doing. So these are organizations, platforms that we as a compensation manager can go and get some service from there. Like so there's another website called Zuhu, Zuhu.com surveys, survey templates they have, human resource surveys are there also. Also they have templates are there. So templates can help you so what type of data we want to actually gather. For example, there are a lot of variety here, a lot of categories, sorry, not varieties, categories here that we can pick. And according to that, you can actually take out some data. You create your own custom tailored surveys. Okay, now let's go back to our slides here. Now, as I said, so custom developed surveys are there. Uh, uh, Quality can be monitored by employer, usually not done in-house because we're actually going for the vendor survey. External data not readily accessible. That's a flaw here. Can be expensive because you have to subscribe it. Pushing Pro, as an example in this figure, also. Now, published service sources are also there. So there are professional association, industrial association, consulting firms, and federal government who actually provide already published surveys that we can actually use those surveys and as a secondary data and take analysis from them to do our research part. What about compensation thing? Now, I will actually show you something else also before we jump into another other section. BLS surveys. Now, BLS basically Ministry of Labor in America. They created a website, and from that website, a lot of data can be gathered automatically for National Compensation Survey, Employment Cost Index, employer cost for employee compensation. So I've already opened the websites to show you all this. And there's a website called Salary Calculator. So and before that, I'll jump into. All right. Okay. Yeah. So what I did was BLS survey respondent. So I actually write to Google BLS survey Ministry of Labor. So if you go there, you'll find that a lot of information is already given on the Ministry of Labor website that can actually be used for our purpose. And you can actually select what exactly which role you're looking for, and in that role, what type of salary structure is there, what type of benefits are there. So a database is available. That is extremely good. So before this website opens, let's jump into another thing. That is another website called salary.com. Somehow the internet actually stopped working here. Anyway, salary.com is another website. It's open here. Unlock the power of you. So, and you can actually, as a business, what should I pay to different roles? You can do that, or you can write any title here, for example. And if you write any title, and then you can actually collect. Oh, no internet. So what's happening here? It was working a while back, to be honest. Let me just, yeah, all right, start to work, I guess. All right, let me pause here and I'll come back again when it's running, okay? Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back. Now internet is working. So I was just talking about salary.com website. It's a good website just to check on different roles in each organization and how, or let's say if you are looking for, let's say, any position for that particular role, you want to see that how much a person can earn. So I actually started, let's say I'm using a lecturer position. So get my salary estimates for this particular position in the organization, or you can even write managers or any supervisor and stuff like that. So let's say I pick this lecturer. Uh, so in a typical lecturer or college instructor, how much the person will actually get as a salary. Now this website actually gives more than quite a lot of data. Actually, it's just not that it gives us statistics. Now you see, now the statistics are so open and they're just giving us paid annually. So annually, 50% median. Um, so medium is like the middle. Average is like $53,000 up to $198 per annum. And when it goes down over here, maximum is $121,000 a person can actually earn in this particular role. Let's say we pick on location because location is also important here. And then you can actually compare for that particular location also. Now, and it's education. So number of years experience, if we, let's say I pick 7 to 9 years of experience, now you will see that there will be a jumping salary increment, salary jump will be there. Now, based on the location that I picked, you see the median has actually been changed from 50 plus to now 45 because I changed the location. So the more, if you go into the center of a place, like a city which is very expensive, this median will increase and the maximum salary will also increase. So this website actually gives salary plus bonuses for that particular position, what type of bonuses we are looking at. Base salary you can check, base benefits you can check, and what else? So it is showing salary and bonus over here 57. Your salary will be like that. Benefits, if I just click on the benefits here, what type of benefits we're looking for. The base salary, if this is the median, majority was around the salary. So social security, disabilities, healthcare, pension, time off, total compensation for any particular median is 66. So the salary will start from 66. Now, another website that I was telling you about was BLS, US Bureau of Labor Statistics. And it's a great website actually that they have created, and we can actually get a lot of information from there. And I'm sure similarly information that you can have from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia also. So I just wrote on a search compensation. Now, National Compensation Survey, compensation benefits, and job analysis specialist. These are surveys basically, what type of things we want. And we can get from this website. Employer cost for employee compensation. This is also a very important topic. And third point in our one of our slides also, that this survey will give, for example, if I click this, and the surveys are quite recent. Uh, and there's another website, I'll go back to that survey again. There's another website called Cost of Living Calculator. So depending on the city that you're living in, for example, let's say current city we are living in, let's say the Mam area. All right. So we'll compare Dammam with Riyadh. Okay. So where are you comparing? I'm comparing it with Riyadh. Yeah, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Monthly spending. How much I spend in, let's say, grocery. I'm just giving a rough figure. Let's say I spend 300 Saudi Riyal here. Okay. Riyal, so SSS. All right. And calculate. For different people, it's different. So then we'll have a comparison of living here also. Yeah. If you remember, what we are doing, why we are doing this, we are basically trying to come up with a salary compensation here. So it gives you an overview. If 3,000 Riyal in Dammam, Saudi Arabia is an average same local purchasing power as 29 in Riyadh. So in Riyadh, people will be spending a little less, like 100 Riyal less almost than in Dammam. All right. This comparison assumes net earning after income tax. To get better, please compare a comparison of cost living between and demand. All right. Okay. Let's click that. All right. Comparison of cost of living. What else? Wow. Now, indexes differences. So consumer prices in Riyadh are 0.48% lower. Okay, so it's a little, let's say 0.50, 0.5 lower than consumer prices. Consumer prices including rent is 2.8% lower in Riyadh than Dammam. Dammam is a bit expensive here. Huh? Rent prices in Riyadh are 11.51 lower than Dammam. Restaurant prices in Riyadh are 1.57 higher, almost 1.5% higher in Riyadh. So it's a capital. Grocery prices in Riyadh is lower, 6 point. Local purchasing power in Riyadh is 1.6. So yeah, so this survey is actually giving us a comparison also, and it's not just that; it's also giving us the price range on restaurants, markets, transportation, utilities, sports, leisure, childcare, comparing these two cities. So depending on if a person is living in the mom, how much we, for a position, how much we should give him, and at the same time, if he's living in Riyadh, how much we can give him. So these websites are good enough to give us some benefits here. Now, coming back to the slides here, BLS survey. So we just saw that survey thing, National Compensation Survey for wages and benefits, NCS. So from the BLS website, I downloaded this PDF, and it actually gives us a lot of things that what it is, National Compensation Survey. It gives us retirement benefits, healthcare benefits, life insurance benefits, other benefits. It's a survey, so what normally people actually get out of these things. And yeah, so it's a lot of data here. So you can go through the data as a compensation manager, and then you can come up with another strategy for that. Next is employment cost index. So for a particular employee, how much it is costing to get an employee, for compensation cost trends. So over here again from the BLS website, we see that compensation cost for civilian workers increased 0.7%. Seasonal adjustment for a 3-month period ending in December 2000. So employment cost index. So they're saying that it has been increased 0.7% in this survey that was done in December 2019. 0.7% more expensive the civilian worker, like the government worker were. Wages and salary were increased 0.7%, benefit cost increased 0.5% from September 2019. Civil compensation cost for civilian workers increased 2.5% for 12 months. So yeah, so it's been increased 2.57% for 12 months period ending in December, and compared to 2.9%, also a little dip. You can say that wages and salary increase in 2.9% over the year, increased 3.9 12 months. So this survey actually gives us employment cost index also, and which is going to help us while we are designing our compensation policy. Lastly, we have employer costs for employee compensation. For compensation cost trends, state. And so even for that, as I already opened this employer cost, it says that private industry employers spent an average of $34 per hour work for total employee compensation in December, and wages and salary. So basically what they're saying is per hour, private sector was giving to a laborer $34, private sector, and wages and salary average 24.6 per hour work, accounting for 70% of the cost and benefits. Okay, so and $24 per hour work accounted for the. So this information, actually, such information gives us quite a number of points. Then when we are designing our own compensation policy, these are external market trends. This survey is actually giving external market trends, what's happening, because this data has been captured and compiled by analyzing the whole market and the whole industry-wise things are there. So, and there's a huge data collected here that one can actually use. And in the following slides, and the further explanation is there that how we use these websites. All right, so yeah, just I'll go through them very quickly. So we did this already. So National Company Survey, so NCS was giving us average hourly wages for 800 occupations in approximately 80 metropolitan and non-metropolitan locations. So 800 occupations data is in this survey, which is already in BLS website. Weekly annual earning hours for full-time workers are there. Data at 3 levels are there: locality, broad range, and so a lot of data is there. It also gives us industry-wise data, occupational group, full-time, part-time data. Compensation CC trends were there also. I just showed you there were two trends: employment cost index and employee cost for compensation, and I already showed you. So employee cost index, what it gives, it changes in pay and benefits if they were changing data on all workers and separately. Compensation changes, seasonal adjustments were there. And the other one was major occupation, industry regions, same data but a different way of doing that. Compensation service. Now compensation service, we can also look up into that. There are two essential strategic considerations: defining the relevant labor market. So if we go to a relevant labor market, as an example, for example, I gave you here, let's say we take an example of engineers. One is general engineers and one is, let's say, steel industry engineers. So we take data from, one is a mechanical engineer and another steel engineer. So we take data from the industry market and then we compare them together. Okay, in the steel industry, for example, in the oil industry where there are steel, a lot of people have to do that refinery thing and stuff like that. They have to build that structural thing. So there are an engineer over there, and there's another mechanical engineer who may be working in an organization, and compare. We can compare their compensation package. How we do that? Choosing benchmark jobs. We all know that benchmarks are important. They are extremely important things. I think so. I actually opened something here for you. Let me just see if I still open. No, I think so. I closed. No. Yeah, I think so. I closed it. Yeah, I closed it. Anyway, so benchmarks are also there that we can use for particular jobs. We benchmark them and then we compare it. So now the following slides already covered that NC average benefits provision. So far NCS was giving lots of things that they were giving. I opened this, and this report actually gives us retirement benefits. If I go to any page, for example, retirement benefits, benefits plans are classified as either defined benefit or defined contribution plans. So if you're designing the retirement benefit plans in your compensation plan, you have to define something similar, like it's defined here as a Ministry of Labor document. Broad ranges, as already relevant labor markets, we look at that. Occupation classification of their geography was there when we were looking at cost of living here. So yeah, that is also consideration. And benchmark jobs, as I mentioned, used for job evaluation, compensation surveys. They are well established, stable, common across employers. Entire range of jobs are there and accepted for setting pay rates. So that's why we use benchmarks. So this is part one of our talk. So if you go back directly, we try to do three answers we try to find out. One was why we're doing this, why it's important, how we're going to do this, how we're going to achieve that competitive advantage by collecting data. And we do collect data through surveys. We come across lots of data platforms, survey platforms are there. And then I showed you some examples of BLS websites that we can use to collect data. So I hope you were understanding this. Now in the second part, we have some calculations part, inshallah. I'll be sending you that video very soon. So before signing out, let me just tell you, say that stay home, stay safe, take care. Assalamu alaikum.